Women Innovators. Interviews with women with big messages and big missions, sharing their stories to inspire you to live your passion and step up to make the world a better place. Here's your host, Tammy Patzer.
Hi, everyone. This is Tammy Patzer, and I'm really excited because today's guest is Victoria Plekenpol. And she has such an amazing background. She's traveled the world, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. She has 2 biological children, and she's also adopted Kailin Grace, who's now 10 years old, and she is the sales executive, Blue Diamond, and founder of dōTERRA China. And of course, she works in China with her global team. And right now, she happens to be in Colorado, where, of course, because we can be everywhere, we're talking with her. I'm in Florida. She's in Colorado. And Victoria believes that the only way people will be able to live fully and fulfill the purpose they were created for is that they are to be fully healthy, clear-minded, and full of energy. Her mission is to empower and educate women to own their lives without boundaries, to ensure them that it's never too late to make a change, to help them discover their purpose, and to fulfill it. So let's start our conversation. Let's back up a little bit, because you literally had a wake-up call when you were 21 years old. Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah. It was something that really blindsided me and my whole family. I was a very typical kind of American, going to school and had this cardiac event that landed me in the emergency room. And it turned out I had a congenital heart problem called Wolff-Parkinson-White syndrome, which my family had no idea. And it put me on this journey of a lot of hospitals, a lot of tests, and ended up having an experimental surgery at the time. This was back in 1988, so I'm going to age myself there. But in hindsight, it was probably the best thing that happened to me because it woke me up. It woke me up to life. It woke me up to how fragile it can be. And I think we're kind of living in that again right now. And I remember coming through that and thinking, oh my, I better live my life and not just go through the motions, you know? And it was, and I was sharing a bit earlier that I don't want anybody to have a heart attack, of course not, but you kind of need to have that moment where you wake up and say, what am I here for? And what am I supposed to be doing to make a positive impact?
I agree with you. Right now, it seems like it's like take a pause, and it's a time to reflect, and our lives are probably going to be different. And I imagine we're going to have to grieve whatever that looked like. So some of the things that you talk about is that you want to empower women to own their lives. So what exactly does that mean to you?
Well, what that means, and I've lived in 6 countries. You said I traveled the world. I've actually lived around the world. And, you know, everybody has a choice. Every day you wake up and it's like, am I going to have a good day or am I going to have a bad day? And honestly, bad things happen. And I am not making light of that at all, that people are in bad situations. But are you going to stay there or are you going to change it? Because you and only you have the power to change it. So when I'm coaching people and talking to people, you know, if you're not happy with your health, you need to change it. You know, you need to get up and reach out, get the help that you need, start taking the walk, start changing the diet. You have to do that. You need to own that. If you're not in a positive state of mind. I don't mean that you need to be happy all the time. That's unrealistic. But if you're just kind of not fulfilled, not feeling joy ever, of course, there is the extreme end of that where you need to maybe get help with mental health professionals. But if you're just kind of in a lull of life, that is not how life is supposed to be experienced. You should wake up with purpose, not like hit the snooze alarm 10 times because you're dreading the day. If you're dreading your day, you need to change that. You need to own it. Only you can fill your day with things that are going to fire you up. What is that? Do you know what I mean? It's like when I get up, I'm like, bing, what do I get to do today? Not what do I have to do? It's a difference. It's subtle, but it's a big difference. And then same with finances. If you're living, and I know finances are terrible right now. Around the world, we are being economically devastated. I am not making light of that at all. This is very difficult times that we're living in. But are you going to just sit there and take it, or are you going to say, well, this could be an opportunity. What could I be doing differently? My personal business, I'm with dōTERRA, is exploding. Right? It's exploding because we have products that help support people physically, help support people emotionally, and it's a great business opportunity for those who want to look at that. So, you can step into something that's going to we're going to have to pivot, right? Like you just said, normal is going to be different when we come out of this. How can you leverage this moment in time? You should be looking at what are the opportunities going to be that come out of this, and where can you step in? Don't sit back and just be a victim. You're strong. You're independent. You can do this, and you need a community of strong, like-minded women around you to help you. Right? I will agree. It's very difficult to have the energy and focus to do it by yourself every day, all day. But, find that community that's going to lift you up.
I really like that when you said to see the opportunity to pivot. And again, we've seen a lot of people are talking about pivoting. Mm-hmm. But when you say see the opportunity, what advice, if you were to give somebody like 3 tips about how do you shift and open your eyes and wake up without having to have a dramatic event like a heart attack. What could somebody do if they're like, I'm getting up every day, I'm trying hard, I'm working hard, and nothing seems to change. And, what is, I don't know what that is, but if you could give somebody some like glimmer of hope, what kind of tips might you give them?
Mm-hmm. That's a great question. The first thing I want to say is it's never too late. If you are breathing, it is never too late, right? Sometimes I meet people and they're like, oh, I'm already in my 50s and I'm already this and it's too late. And I'm like, why is it too late? Start now. There's a whole group of people your age that are probably feeling the same way. So the other tip I would give is, what are you passionate about? Take your hobby and try to make it a profession if you can, right? Because that's where you start leveraging the joy and the finances, right? So my particular journey, ending up in the health and wellness industry, has kind of been my journey, right? It started with the heart attack. When I came out of the hospital, I went vegan. I became a fitness instructor. I became a it really changed the trajectory. I'm very passionate about helping people be healthier because I absolutely believe if you are healthy, you will be clear-minded, you will have energy, and you will be able to get up and do that thing. So that's my number one tip, is figure out what is that thing. Another thing that fires me up is orphan care. I've lived in China for 16 years. I've been in this cause for quite a while. And the money that I make, I'm using to have my foundation called DoTERRA to help adoptions. That gets me out of bed in the morning, right? Like the idea that I could help another child come to their forever family fires me up. What fires you up? Is it cooking? Is it my daughter? I have a 24-year-old who's at Harvard getting her master's in nutrition, sustainability, public policy. Like, this girl's going to save the world, right? She is all about no plastic. She's vegan. She's all about the planet and sustainability and recycling. And it gets her out of bed in the morning, right? So I would just want to, so what is it? Is it the environment? Is it animals? Is it a hobby? There are fabulous people out there doing YouTube videos, making a fortune on crafts. Like, are you a craft? Like, it doesn't, what is that thing? What is that thing? And then figure out how to monetize it. Right? That's my tip. Monetize the thing that fires you up.
So when you say monetize, for people, a lot of people, maybe that's where they get stuck. Do you have any suggestions on how to get started in taking that passion, and how do you monetize it? How do you start making money with your passion? Like with doTERRA, for example, that has a specific business model that goes with it, so people can step into something that already exists.
Right.
But what other ways are there that somebody might take a passion?
Well, I want to speak to both of those points. So with doTERRA being a network marketing model, I absolutely love network marketing. If it's done well, if it's done professionally, it is a fabulous at-home business model that works, right? I know there's all kinds of bad, negative connotations out there that I understand, but when it is done well, it is a very doable business model that if you can find a company that you're passionate about, nothing against kitchen products. I wouldn't get that excited about that myself, but somebody who's a cook would get extremely excited about that. So there are business models out there that are really easy to step into with very low overhead, very high potential. And quite frankly, doTERRA has become my vehicle to make extraordinary amount of money so that I can fulfill my personal purpose of helping with adoptions, right? And then now I help other women use doTERRA and do doTERRA and build businesses so that they can fulfill their purpose. That's just one model, and it's a great model. I would definitely not dismiss that. If that's not your thing, then the second thing I would say is, I love Google. Do your research. Find other people that have the same passion. Go into Facebook groups. Go into different community chat rooms that are doing that thing and see what they're doing, right? And maybe your area, nobody's doing it. Or maybe you get an idea that's a little bit different that you can put a spin on it, right? So it's all about research. And I will tell you, if it's something you're passionate about that you're researching, you'll start to tingle with excitement, right? Instead of just, sitting home doing, maybe you're a gardener, maybe you're a cook, or maybe you do, whatever, knitting, whatever it is, taking care of pets. When you're just by yourself kind of doing it, it seems small. But when you get into a group and you get into a community and you start seeing what other people are doing with that thing, it just starts to break down walls and barriers that you can step into and start getting ideas. And ideas are not just passing thoughts. You have to capture them and look at them and go, is this actually a really good idea? I have ideas all the time. I have to sleep with a pen and paper next to my bed or I won't fall asleep if I don't write it down, right? And I will tell you, I will look at 20 ideas that I've written down, and probably 19 of them aren't realistic or any good. But there's the one that I'm like, I wonder if I tried that, if that would work, right? So take your ideas and don't dismiss them. This is your intelligence. This is your being, thinking, creating, right? So you have to act on them for them to become reality. And I think a lot of people just think they're thoughts and they just let them go. So capture them.
That's really good advice, to capture those ideas, because most of the ideas that I have that have turned into something bigger, they were just like thoughts. Or maybe I was doing something like sitting at the laundromat watching the dryer go by, because I had so much laundry to do. I took it all to the laundry because I couldn't stand the thought of spending, in and out of doing laundry at home. So I just took it all at once, to do it. And I've had great ideas. I call it the Church of the Laundry, because the ideas I have.
I get a lot of my ideas in the shower, actually, as well. So they
call it the shower ideas because it's something about the water and everything. I wanted to ask you a little bit more about dōTERRA, because you do have an adopted child, and many people are probably curious about adoption. So the program that you're working on, dōTERRA, what is its mission and purpose?
Thank you for asking that, so I can have a platform to share my heart. I will go back a little bit and be quick. When I first moved to China 16 years ago, the very first week I was there, somebody said, hey, do you want to go to an orphanage? And I thought, oh, okay. I had no idea how that was going to significantly change my life. And again, it's one of those things where you can choose to act on it, or you can just kind of have an experience and move on. I got home from that first day and I sobbed. Because the day before I didn't know, and today I knew. And what was I going to do about it? Now, I'm a big believer in strengths and strength finders. So if you haven't done that, it's something you should look into. But my number one strength is responsibility. And that can be a good thing and it can be a bad thing, because I think I take responsibility for things that aren't probably necessarily my complete responsibility. But it helped me have insight into why I respond to things the way I do. And in this particular case, I came home and thought, I'm now responsible. I can't not know what I know. So that started me on this journey of making an impact for the orphan, right? I know that I, as a single person, am not going to fix the orphan situation globally. But what could I do, right? So, and at that time, my biological kids were probably like 7 and 9, something like that. I thought I was done having kids. And so I started going to the orphanage every week. And then I started speaking, started off at like a church, and kind of like trying to raise awareness that this was an issue. Ended up through a series of relationships and conversations, helping with another couple starting a healing home called the Shanghai Healing Home. And it was a cleft palate house where we would take orphans that were with cleft palate, get their surgeries, and then get them adopted out. So this has been a journey. And I would have to say that too. Most of life is a journey. Most of these things don't just like happen overnight. So this has been a journey. And then what happened was my older daughter at the time, she was 12, the one that she's at Harvard now. She said, Mom, you talk a lot about orphans and adoption and all of this, and how come we're not adopting? And I can remember just clearly thinking, because I'm in my 40s, I'm done. I don't know. But it kind of pierced my heart a little bit, where I thought, we have room at our table. we have the resources, we could do this. And so my husband was way on board, and we started that process. And it was that process where I realized, my goodness, this is not for the faint of heart. There's no accidental adoptions, right? And it was a considerable amount of money. And it kind of started breaking my heart in a beautiful way, where I was realizing that there are phenomenal people in the world that just don't have $30,000 sitting in the bank to take one of these beautiful children home. And so, again, part of my journey, we got Kailin. She has some health issues, and my whole journey with dōTERRA started because a friend introduced me to the oils to help my daughter's health, which, of course, as with most people, I was very skeptical. And I said, I'm sure your oils smell good, but my daughter has a blood disorder. But they worked. That's a whole nother story. And so when I started using the oils on Kailin, and she was having significant health transformations, and then my whole family, I then looked at the dōTERRA business. And there was this rank of Blue Diamond, which I am, and it, on average, makes more than an adoption. And I said to my husband, oh, I should do this as a business, and I'm going to get to that rank, and I'm going to start helping people pay for adoptions. And so there's that journey. And so I told my husband in 5 years I'm going to be there, and I did it in 3. And so then we've started the foundation. We're just in the process of working with a lawyer now to make it a 501c3, because dōTERRA is an incredible company with a very philanthropic arm to it called Healing Hands, which is one of the reasons I fell in love with dōTERRA as a company and was very proud to align with it. But they told me, make your dream into a 501c3, and they will match funds that we raise for adoptions. So if we raise $15,000, then we can match. It needs to be people on my team currently, because it's just starting. But we're hoping to grow this so that it can be, company-wide and then worldwide. But it's kind of like this, the fruition of my little seed that got planted, and it's starting to grow. And it's so exciting for me to know that this is becoming a reality. And we have the power to do that if we say yes. And again, whatever that is for you, right? This is my thing. I get that it's my thing. And I have several people on my team that are adoptive moms or want to adopt, or I'm helping to adopt, because I think like attracts like in some sense. But, again, my older daughter, she's all about sustainability, and she's actually just starting an internship at Harvard Law School today, because her vision is to one day do maybe like microfinancing or pro bono law stuff for sustainability companies. It's her thing. It fires her up. So, I'm so happy to share my thing, but I want to encourage everybody. You're here with something that is going to speak to your heart, that is your thing that you can impact for good and matter, right? Everybody matters. Every life matters. But you have to get up and do it. You have to say yes to that idea, that thought, and actually just get online and start researching it. And you'll be amazed at what starts to come to you.
So the big message is say yes.
Yeah.
Start doing something that will get you moving forward into your passion, because just like you, it started out with, you said yes to go visit an orphanage. And then today you actually found a company that can help you with that mission.
Yeah. And
they're going to be able to match your goals so that you can actually end up doubling how many people you can help. So exactly. That's a really phenomenal thing.
So it's say yes. And I really just want to encourage the listeners, it is never too late. Yeah. If you think about my journey, it started at 21 with my heart cardiac event. And I'm now in my 50s, and I'm still living it. I mean, I think I've made positive impacts along the way, but I feel like I'm only just now stepping into like the greatness that it could be. But it's work, right? I mean, but I guess it's work. I laugh every day. I go, I can't believe they pay me for this. This is so much fun. I chit chat with my girlfriends all day about health, and but it's awesome.
So you recently said yes to another project with Tam Luke,
Yes.
The Boss Up project. So why did you decide that you wanted to be involved with that?
Oh, because again, it's just a platform of encouragement and empowerment to women. You know, to be a part of it is an honor. And this book, Women Who Boss Up, and it will be coming out in August. And I am one of 15 incredible women that have impacted and stepped up and bossed up in their own ways. Everybody's very different, which I love, right? That's the whole point. Don't try to be just like somebody else. Do your thing. You're here for your thing, and it's not going to look like anybody else's thing. So I'm so excited about this book. I think that it is going to be, you know, one of those books that women are going to read and feel inspired and motivated and empowered to say, you know what? Me too. I can do this. I can totally do this. I am not just whatever, fill in the blank, right? We all have, you know, I'm just a wife, or I'm just a mom, or I'm just a this, or I'm just a that. No. Step up, boss up, and see that there are women around the world, ordinary women who have decided to do something extraordinary. And, you know, if you think about it, I love those two words, because ordinary, all you have to do is a little extra to become extraordinary, right? It's just a little extra. So I want to be a part of something that is going to move women in that direction of knowing that they have that extra within them, and they just need to add it to their lives.
I like that too. So, and you really are extraordinary.
I don't know. My daughter often says, "You're so extra, Mom." And I'm like, I'm not sure that's a compliment with the way you say it.
Well, our daughters are always, you know,
Gotta love them.
In that relationship between a mother and a daughter, because it's such a powerful one, but there's always that little something, because your children, you know, you as a mom, you mean so much to your children, and vice versa. The children mean so much, you know, for us. So before I let you go, did you want to add anything that maybe we forgot to touch on?
Two things. Number one, if you are a mom of a daughter, raise her up to know she's fabulous. Empower her. Let her, you know, education is everything. And she is limitless in her possibilities. Really. That's, you know, there was a great book years ago, gosh, maybe even in the 90s, called The Gift of the Blessing. And it was written by John Trent. And it was just about speaking. They call it the blessing. I believe it was a Jewish terminology to speak over your children, almost vision of what could be for them. And we as moms have the power to break our kids down or to build our kids up. And every word that comes out of our mouth is going to do that. So, and it's not to say don't discipline. We don't want to raise a generation of entitlement, but to speak over them vision of greatness and matter, that they matter. So that's number one. And the second thing is, if you want to contact me, I'd love to hear from you. You can find me. My website is Oil Without Boundaries, and it's OYL, Own Your Life. So Oil Without Boundaries. And I say that, you know, it kind of started off me thinking geographic boundaries, right? Because my life was so global, and I have my team is in 50 countries now. But I don't want boundaries geographically. I don't want boundaries demographically. I don't want boundaries on your health. I don't want boundaries on your dreams. There should be just no boundaries. Life can be limitless if you let your mind do that. So that's all I have to say.
Wow, I really like that. So it is OY. How do you?
OYL. So it stands for Own Your Life. So it's kind of a little play on words because I obviously do oils, but it's OYL, oil, Own Your Life without boundaries.
Okay, OYL without boundaries.com. So everyone do go check out Victoria's website. I did before the call, and I was just amazed at everything that you're doing, Victoria. So again, thank you so much for spending time with me.
Such a pleasure, Tammy. Such a pleasure. Thank you. I hope somebody is inspired.
I'm definitely inspired. I think I got my Life Without Boundaries dose of inspiration for today. So I appreciate that.
Awesome. Awesome. Take one of your ideas and go for it today.
Yes, I am. So everyone, take Victoria's advice and live your life without boundaries, and you can be limitless.
Absolutely.
This is Tammy Patzer. Go make it a beautiful day.
You've been listening to Women Innovators with Tammy Patzer. To learn more, please go to womeninnovatorsradio.com. And please do subscribe and share to spread the big messages and big missions to change the world.